to you, Rohit.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Yeah. Tell me how this works.
This
Next.
downwards is the next one.
Okay, this one. Okay. Good evening, everyone. They say they save the best for the last. So I consider myself like that. No offense to anyone. I'm just joking. By the way, I have got very less sentences in my slides because I want you to look at me more. This does not mean I am a narcissist. I am just I'm just trying to tell you, like, we think in pictures, right? How many of you know that? If I ask you to think of an elephant, you will not spell the elephant, you will see the elephant's picture, right? So let's move on. I'm talking about focus. Like, we've learned a lot of things since morning, but if there's one thing that's missing, we cannot, assimilate, digest, or get results from anything, even the money part, right? And that is if we are not focused. So is it a good skill to learn, or is it the most important skill to learn? Focus. So let's learn, and I'll be quick. Let's move on. How many of you have done this experiment in school? We burned a paper with magnifying glass. It was fun, right? Can anyone tell me what was the purpose of that exercise?
To know if what the teacher said is right or not.
Yes. But what was the real purpose? Why did they actually make us do this? Anyone tell me? Yeah, explain the importance of focus, but in what way? Like, can you elaborate? You are right.
The power of the sun's rays to ensure that they have been pointed to.
Correct. Perfect. Yeah.
The intensity of the heat when it is
Absolutely.
on one particular point.
Perfect. So all of you are right, but there's this one thing that's missing. I want to ask you, like, if you had moved the magnifying glass like this every second, would the paper even burn in a million years?
No.
I don't think so. Why? Because it requires 20 minutes of consistent focus. So the point I'm trying to convey here, which was supposed to be told us in schools, and that was, if you focused on a clear vision for 6 months, it will put you ahead 10 years in your life, a decade. If you're focused like this for 6 months on your vision, you will achieve what most people fail to achieve in a lifetime also sometimes. And I'll tell you how distracted people are. Like, how many of you, like, everybody here talks about mindfulness and everything. But I want to tell you a surprising fact. There are people on this planet, or in fact, people lived and died because human life existed for millions of years. They lived, they died, and they did not even focus on a single breath. Breath happens, even if we focus on it or not. Yes or no? So that's how distracted people are. Now, I want to tell you a simple fact. How to develop focus is a good thing to learn. But before that, let's understand why to develop focus. If you are a trainer, speaker, and a coach, like, I've got some trainers, speakers, and coaches in my communities trying to learn from me how to sell high-ticket coaching program. And I'm not just a coach to coaches, by the way. I'll tell you about my story later on. But how many of you know this man? Yeah, not personally, very good. But do you know his name? No. He's the richest man, one of the first billionaires of the world. His name is Andrew Carnegie. And Andrew Carnegie. And he inspired the book Think and Grow Rich. How many of you know Think and Grow Rich? The finance guy would know, and all of us should know. And he's written a lot of other books. I've read Law of Success and so many other books. But Andrew Carnegie was once interviewed. In fact, not even interviewed. He was actually asked, how did you accumulate such a vast fortune in such a short span of time? And that was not the age of internet. It was the age where they had to set up factories and corporations to become rich and successful. Yes? So they actually set up an inquiry upon him to find out what is wrong, or like, is there something wrong that he's doing? And turns out nothing wrong came out, even after interviewing him or doing all kind of checkups. Then they asked him, what is the secret of your success? Can anyone guess what did he say?
Focus.
Yes, but what did he say? What was his precise answer? Of course, if you don't know the story, I'll tell you. He said, I can keep my mind focused on one thing for 5 minutes. Then the interviewer said, what's the big deal? What we will do is we'll set up an experiment and we'll show you we can focus for 10 minutes. And guess what? They did not even last for few seconds. And they got distracted. He didn't say, I developed the leadership skills. He did not say, I set up this factory. I came up with these products. He did not say. He's the founder of the United States Steel Corporation. And then he later on partnered with JP Morgan, if you have heard of his name. So now this story tells us it's worth learning how to focus. But what is the counterpart? We have to learn what is the enemy of focus first. If you want to focus, what is the obstacle to focus? And that is distraction. So why do I call ourselves the worst enemy of ourselves? By the way, are you enjoying till now? Or should I switch gears? Okay, right. Cost of distractions, we'll talk about that. But first, let's understand, why are we our own worst enemy? How many of us find doing things that are detrimental to our success every single day? Say yes. If I know all of you do. You waste time, you scroll Instagram, you compare yourself to other people. Or let me ask you the other question, which is a little bit softer. How many of you don't find yourself doing the exact things that you know will take you towards your goals, your desired lives faster? You don't find yourself doing them on a daily basis, right? That's why I call ourselves the worst enemy of ourselves. And the other day I heard a beautiful sentence. The cost of distractions. Like, do you have any idea how much wealth has been squandered by getting distracted? Right? If 100 rupees get deducted from our bank account, we'll call the bank for no reason to find out why 100 rupees deducted. But what about time that we lose on a daily basis? Like, money is valuable. How many of you think money is valuable? But something that is more valuable than money, time. And something that is more valuable than time is energy. We have 24 hours in a day, but we don't have energy 24 hours in a day. We have to sleep for 7 to 8 hours. But something that is more valuable than energies is your focus. Can we focus for, let's say we have energy to stand and deliver something for 10 hours. But can I focus on one thing or something important to me for 10 hours? Forget about hours. We can't even focus on things for just a few minutes. And that makes the difference between the ordinary and extraordinary warrior. You know, there's this beautiful quote that says, every great warrior is an ordinary person with a laser sharp focus. And if you can learn how to focus, you will stop being your worst enemy. And not just that, you will be your best friend. And here is what I say to my clients. Every time you look into the mirror, you find two people, your best friend or your greatest enemy. You will be your best friend when you know you have focus in your life. But let's talk about what is the prerequisite to be able to focus. Can anyone guess? I'll give you a gift if you guess. What is important to be able to focus? What is one thing that is required? Great answer, great answer. Clap for him. Amazing answer. You have to know what is his answer is. You have to know what to focus on. You have to have something to focus on, because if you don't have a higher vision, you will always fall for lower or cheap pleasures, which give you immediate gratification. So let's understand how to develop vision. But before that, I want to tell you, elaborate this point which he just answered, which is a beautiful answer. Why do you need a vision? Without a vision, there are so many things, especially in today's times, that are ready to grab your attention on a daily basis, right? And these things are very pleasurable also at the same time. So you enjoy. So what is that one thing that will keep you from delaying the gratification that your immediate pleasures give you? You have to have something which is more powerful than everything else that is giving you instant gratification, and that is this one thing which is called as your vision. But let's talk about this first. Before I talk about vision, there is one more story that I want to share with you guys. You know these guys, right? Two of the richest people in the world, Bill Gates and Warren Buffett. They were sitting, I don't think this is the exact photo, but they were sitting in a conference room and they were asked, what is the one most important quality to succeed in life? And they said, yes. They said, don't shout out your answer, just write it in a chit and hand it over to us. They wrote only one word. Coincidentally, both of them wrote focus. And that's how important your focus is. So let's understand why or how we can develop focus. As a coach, mentor, and a trainer, I always share the why before I share the how. Because if you don't tell your kids, your employees, or anyone you want to get something to do done from them, you have to tell them why they need to do that before you tell them the how. Yes, start with why. So compelling vision is very much important. First aspect of your vision, you have to have your vision so compelling that it pulls you towards it. Tony Robbins said a beautiful thing. He said, the only difference between winners and losers is winners think about the outcome, the results that they are going to get, and losers think about the process they will have to go through to get that result. बहुत difficult है, too much work to do. But winners think about how beautiful the end result will be. And that will pull you towards that vision, and the work will feel effortless. How many of you agree? When you're working towards something, your work gets meaning, and your work doesn't feel work. And that is a great achievement when your work doesn't feel work, isn't it? And that's why I am last here today, but still I have good amount of energy, because this kind of work gives me a lot of energy. It doesn't feel work anymore, right? A clear vision. But there is something, I'm sure most of you wouldn't have heard of it, and that is called anti-vision. How many of you have heard this before? Be honest. You, one person? Yes. I'll tell you something. Something which is more powerful than your vision is your anti-vision. Human beings will do more to avoid pain than to gain pleasure. So your vision might be compelling, but something that is more powerful is where you don't want to end up in future. If you just, there is something called as Dickens pattern. I don't want to go into that right now, but when I'm coaching my clients, I take them into two paths into the future. One is how beautiful your future will be if you manifest or create your desired life. And if you fail to do that, how miserable you will be 5 years, 10 years from now. And you have to scare yourself. If I fail to discipline myself today, where will I end up? 3 years, 5 years, 10 years from now. And to avoid that pain, we will take radical actions today. And there is quite a process for you to design your anti-vision. You have to enlist everything that you hate doing on a daily basis, or every time someone humiliates you or something that has happened in your life, you can add it to your anti-vision. And this is not out of arrogance. Whoever has become successful in life, they remember these things very clearly. I can tell you more people have become successful because of their anti-vision and what they hated than people who had just vision. How many of you know Ratan Tata's story? He once went to Detroit, America, and Ratan Tata went to this company, Jaguar companies, right? He said, we've got this car, we are not able to sell it. And the CEO said, if you don't know how to make cars, why are you in this business? Ratan Tata did not say anything. He came back to India, he worked on his car, that was Indica car, and he made it one of the best selling car. And sometimes fortune favors the brave. Then he got the opportunity later on to take over Ford Motors as well. I think it was Ford Motors. Jaguar, yes. The company doesn't matter. The story matters. Story is very important, where he converted his anti-vision into his desired goal and reality that he actually wanted. And the third step is very important. Your why, your personal why. Everything comes down to asking this one question: why do I want this vision? If I achieve this vision, how would I feel? What would be the facial expressions on the family members' face? Because people will do more for other people than they will do for themselves. How many of you agree? If you are at home, how do you dress? No one's going to watch you. But if you want to go out, how do you dress? Yes, like this. I am not in turtleneck t-shirt at home, right? Similarly, if you were to eat or drink even a coffee, you will just drink anywhere, normal coffee stall. But if you wanted to take your client on a coffee or even a date, let's say, where would you go? 5-star hotel? Because we will do more for other people. So come up with reasons that are bigger than yourself, and that will give you the courage to take massive action. Because at the end of the day, it all comes down to one thing: how much audacity you have to take extraordinary decisions in your life. Is this making sense to all of you? Yes. How are you finding it till now? Relevant? Relevant? Let's go ahead. But it's not enough to have a vision. Like, let's say I see a Mercedes car here. I want to buy a car like this. And by the time I go home in the traffic, I've already forgotten about it. Yes or no? How many of you had this experience? That means you had a desire and the environmental influence killed it by the time you reached home. Because we have 60 to 80,000 thoughts in a day, that means the only work that you have is to nurture your vision. And here is this quote that transformed my life. I suffered until I did this. Today I'm able to keep myself at my level 10 fitness and every day become better at my craft, and at the same time all the things that I want to work on is because of this one thing, because I nurture my vision on a daily basis. So let's understand, before we understand how to do this, I want to tell you about this quote that says, when the voice and the vision on the inside is more stronger, powerful on the inside than the outside noise, outside world's noise, then you have truly mastered your life. So, how many of you know about auto suggestion or self suggestion? It is a combination of visualization, speaking your affirmations. Tony Robbins calls it incantations, which is using your physical body, and training your mind. It's about training your mind to focus on one thing. It's like going to the gym. Up until whatever we have discussed till the vision part, it's like learning to know how to perform an exercise. Now this is where we actually do the work on a daily basis, and this is harder than working out in the gym also. How many of you agree? Because when you are working out, it's quite evident. You can see, okay, you're doing the push-ups, I can see myself. Or if I cannot, I can get someone to shoot my video and see. But when you are actually doing this, it is intangible. But unfortunately or fortunately, the most powerful things in the world are intangible. So you have to train your mind on a daily basis, just like you train yourself in the gym, if you want to have your vision protected. Because every moment, something will come to grab your attention. And if there was one thing that I want you to protect more than you protect yourself, what would that be? Your attention. What you pay attention to on a daily basis. What is the currency, or what gets Facebook to earn its money? Attention. They've got your attention. And that's the currency of the 21st century. And everybody is out there to grab your attention. And the only difference, as we already talked about, between ordinary and extraordinary is where they place their attention. Yeah? So let's understand how to do this. There are two types of suggestions you can give yourself. One is generic, and the other is goal specific. Let's talk about the generic ones. Here is what I say to myself. Day by day, in every way, I'm getting better and better, healthier and healthier, younger and younger, stronger and stronger, more and more powerful, wiser and wiser, more and more attractive to the opposite sex, and everything else that I ever desire comes to me instantaneously, effortlessly, and I am attracted to it and it is attracted to me. This is how you say your generic affirmations. Then you say your goal specific affirmations. Like, I want this car by this date. So wanting it is not enough. You have to say it enough times till it feels real. And a lot of people say shouting affirmations doesn't help. Really, how many times have you shouted it to yourself? Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill says, even if you repeat a lie to yourself, it becomes your truth. What does media do? It is brainwashing us. They are telling us lies so many times. Still, we believe because we know one thing. It is repeated several times. Why Coca-Cola is doing billions of dollars of turnover? Because they have repeatedly shown their advertisements to us. So since we've got less time, we will not go into detail, but let's move on. So here are your daily steps. These are the things you need to do. You have to define. Now there is text because these are steps, okay? So daily vision, you have to practice daily focus the way I told you. Then so many things like embracing discipline, reflect, and all of that. Your self story, you have to write your story as if you have created something that you want in your life already. Then auto suggestion, which I already discussed with you. And you enlist what are the short-term pleasures that you're falling for every single day. You have to understand what is it that's taking my attention. What is it that is taking away maximum amount of money from my bank account without me knowing about it? Will you tolerate that? I don't think so. Right? So why do you tolerate, things, people taking your attention. Next, and here is the immutable law. We are going to answer in the next 1 minute. And I've not written it here. I'll tell you what it is. Any goal, idea, thought, plan held in your conscious mind consistently long enough will be taken over by your subconscious mind and it will be brought into reality. Now, the next logical question is, or I would say most powerful question, not just logical question, but emotional question is, you don't fail in life because of lack of talent, ability, or skill. We fail in life because we don't have this one thing. And it's not just one thing, in fact, it's a combination of several things. So the question is, before I tell the question, I feel nervous because this is the hardest step. The question is very simple. Do you have the willpower, the determination, the persistence, and the perseverance to hold your goal clearly, knowing the emotions that you will feel once you achieve your goal, long enough for it to be taken over by your subconscious mind? Do you have that? And rest all will fall in its place. This is Coach Rohit Vani. Thank you so much. You can reach me here.
Thank you, Rohit,
Thank you.
for this beautiful presentation. I understand people were listening to you very clearly. Time limitations, you have done
Thank
it
you.
really well. Excellent job. A loud applause, guys, to support this and to conclude. And to this, we come to an end.